Hey y'all, it's your girl Toya Tiller and I'm back with another video. This is the review of Tyler Perry's Sister Season 5 Episode 13. The title is Feeling the Heat. And if you're wondering why I'm whispering or talking low, it's because my children are asleep and I'm just trying to keep it that way. So, we start the episode off with Maurice and the prosecutor. Maurice was the prosecutor is trying to get Maurice to sign the papers. But Maurice, he's not going for it at all. And he's telling Maurice that, oh, Sabrina, she signed the papers and she gave you up. That's why she's out of jail. Now, I'm glad that Maurice had enough sense not to fall for that the way he fell for Q. Because he told the prosecutor straight up that he from the hood and he not finna go for that. He already know that's a lie. Like, you just running game to try to get him to sign the paper. And so the prosecutor told him, well, have it your way then. And then he got to asking him why he hadn't made a phone call. So when Maurice made a phone call, he called Calvin to ask Calvin, let me scoot my mic over. Excuse me. He called Calvin to ask Calvin, did Sabrina give him up? And I'm wondering, why would Maurice call Calvin instead of Sabrina? Like, Sabrina out of jail, you just got the information that she's out. You got her number, why didn't you call her to hear it from the horse's mouth? Instead, he called Calvin. And Calvin told him that Sabrina did not give him up. Sabrina wouldn't do nothing like that. Like, don't believe anything that prosecutor is saying at all. So, after that, when they hung up the phone, Calvin, he went over to Sabrina to inform her what Maurice had just called and said. So Sabrina, she was like, oh no, I gotta call Andy. I gotta get Andy, like, to help get Maurice out of jail. And I'm like, what happened to that 20,000 that Calvin had put up for your bun? Like, why Calvin can't help get Maurice out of jail? Because Andy has already done way too much in my eyes, the way I see it. Because she done had to fuck and suck, excuse my language, but that's what Danny said. I ain't said it, I'm just repeating it. She done had to do all of that for the bond money. And if she ain't did it yet, I'm pretty sure it's coming. Like, y'all got Andy doing too much. Y'all gonna have her working the strip to bond every last one of y'all out of jail. Anybody got time for all that? Like, Calvin, he better get his coins together and help Maurice get out of jail. Because honestly, I don't even think Andy even know Maurice like that to be going hard like that to get him out of jail. Especially whenever she's already in debt with Robin right now, helping Sabrina get out of jail. So I don't know about that one, Sabrina, but hopefully somehow Maurice will get free. Now, when they was in the middle of conversation, here comes Brumman popping through after all this time. Where you been? Any back new? That's what I need to know. Then got the nerve to say, Sabrina, he been calling Sabrina. He ain't been calling Sabrina. Because if that was the case, she would have seen them missed calls when she first turned that phone on. Then he talking about he done been by there a few times and all that. Bro, man. Like, you probably called a couple times. You might have came by, knocked at the door. But you ain't really just hard down trying to find Sabrina. Because when you asked Danny at that dinner date, when you was all up her ass, you asked her where she worked. She said she worked at the airport. Why didn't you go by the airport and speak to Danny and find out what's wrong with Sabrina? Is she okay? Why is she answering the phone? I've been by her house. Like, no one heard from you. No one saw you. And clearly Sabrina ain't even got no missed calls from you, because she was shocked to even see you pop up. But I'm trying to figure out why she got the nerve to say come in. You ain't gonna find out who it is first? Like, you done been through too much. You done been traumatized. Like, the undercover cop done pulled up at the bank to arrest you and Maurice. You been locked up for this long. They had to cut your hair, and you don't even know why you in there. Didn't even get a phone call. Soon as you finally get a visit, you got bum rushed out. Like, you been through a lot, Sabrina, to just be like, come in. No, you need to find out who outside your door first before you let them in, because ain't nobody got time for that. But anyways, we'll be it. So after they conversated or whatnot, Sabrina's son Brumman on by his way. She told him she'll call him later on or whatnot, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you got company." Calvin tried to book up, talking about, "Yeah, she do." So I don't know, but honestly, the way I see it, Brumman, he can really take his ass back to Ebeknu, because like, nah, you already did too much at that dinner date with Danny. So, like, no. But now we see Zach. I mean, not Zach, but Fatima and Andy. And they're in her office, and she's letting Andy know that, yes, Zach asked me to marry him. So Andy, she's like, are you gonna marry him? And Fatima like, I don't really know, because I don't really know about this Karen, and it might be my baby stuff. So she's like, basically, first she got to check with Karen first because of the child support. And Andy realized that her finger had like a ring print on it, and that's what led to the conversation from the start. And I'm just thinking in my head, how the hell Fatima got a ring print around her finger when Zach just put that ring on her finger? Like, damn, it ain't even been on there for that long. So I don't know, but that was weird to me. So that's how the conversation sparked up, and she let her know that that they need to talk to Karen first before any of this, because she don't really know yet. And Andy was like, well, Zach got money now, so I don't think that, they have a reason to stick him for child support. Hell, why not? Simply because, just because he got money, I don't see it going on them kids. Well, I don't see it going on his son, because Karen ain't have hers yet, and she don't know 99.9% for sure if it's even for Zach. But just going by Heather's son, the fact that I don't see none of his money, all this money he got now, I don't see none of it going on his son. I don't see no bonding time with them at all. So therefore, I don't see why not. But Andy was like, well, he got money now, and Fatima, she said, well, and both of his baby mamas know that, and that's why I feel like, yeah, they finna come after him. And so they talk and they hang it up, and Fatima said she finna leave because her feet hurt. So now she head home, and Zach is waiting outside for her. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention that Fatima had showed Andy Tamara, a picture of Tamara, talking about this is my plant for hating, and she gonna take him for everything he got. Like, girl, I would like to see what all Tamara get out of hating. Okay, I mean, he is bringing in 34% of the company revenue, but at the same time, like I said, if Tamara is supposed to be the character of the biggest, baddest, gold digging bitch that Madam can find. I don't think that Hayden is the go to. That's all I'm saying. But anyways, um Zach was waiting outside for Fatima when she pulled up. And he had a surprise for her, so he was like, close your eyes. And she was like, how am I gonna make it to the door with my eyes closed, Zach? And I'm like, Zach didn't think that one through all the way, because he really could have just waited till they got to the door and then said, close your eyes. But y'all know Zach be all over the place. So they get inside of the house and Zach was like, okay, open your eyes. Surprise. And y'all, it was a little dinner date for two. With a couple of little tea light candles around it. And Fatima was looking at it like, okay, is this supposed to be a surprise? I guess. So Zach was like, yeah, babe, let's get married tonight. Let's go to the Justice of Peace. Let's do this. Like, I heard everything you said about, taxes and debt and all this, the child support. I heard everything you said, but I still want to marry you tonight. Let's go. Let's do it. And Fatima was like, whoa, now, slow down. Because I don't want to get married like that. Clearly. I want to have a big, beautiful wedding with my family there in a church. Zach was like, Fatima, your family don't even go to church. And I'm just like, Zach, he stay digging. But she want what she want. And it ain't all about what you want. Because at the end of the day, that's something that y'all should plan together. And that's just the way I see it. Like, I feel like that's very selfish. And not saying that you intentionally trying to be selfish, but that's a selfish behavior for you to want to just go get married tonight. Let's go to the Justice of Peace. Let's, eat this little dinner for two with these tea light candles around it, and then let's head out and go say I do at the courthouse. What about what she want? Did you even ask? Like, have y'all even ever sat down and talked about the wedding? Like, what kind of wedding do you want? Budgeting the wedding. Because none of this conversation has taken place. So I'm just trying to figure out. But either way, Fatima was like, no, we not gonna do that, but we is gonna call Karen. And Zach like, for what? We having a dinner. You just got off work. You say your feet hurt. Like, why do we need to call Karen? Why we can't just enjoy our night? Clearly. So, Fatima don't want to do nothing until she talk to Karen. She don't want to eat or do nothing. Zach was like, look, my appetite gonna be gone by the time we get off the phone, Karen. I ain't trying to do that first. Let's eat first. So, Fatima, she wasn't hearing it. And they sit down and she make Zach call Karen. So, we gonna come back to that part. Now we see Preston and Danny. Preston done found out that Danny got into an altercation with someone because her neighbor let him know that. And he was like, so you ran someone over? And she was like, well, it ain't a big deal. It's all good. He okay. And I'm like, Danny, it is a big deal. Like, same thing Preston said. It is a big deal. What do you mean it's not a big deal? So, all in all, she don't want to talk about it right now. No matter how big of a deal it is. She want to go hang out with her girls and, finish relaxing. And finish having drinks. Because she was having drinks with Q before she made it home. And I forgot to speak on that part. Because I don't even understand why Danny even took Q up on that date to have drinks with him. Like, for one, I would have felt like he was plotting up on me from the start because he's asking to walk me to my car. But he can barely even walk right now. He's limping. You know, he been holding his side since he clocked in. So I would feel like he plotting up on me. You know, he wants something, basically. And hell, Q show his shit stink. Q wanted her to buy him some drinks. So she like, no, I don't do that. Of course not. Like, why would you even fix your lips to ask me to buy you a drink? Fella, why would you do that? You know? You came up to me talking to me. You asking me to be your company. Like, no. I'm not about to let you leech off of me and buy you some drinks. Like, for one, I don't even understand why Danny took the date, because after what you just went through with Vienna Sausage, you shouldn't even want to even be around any more strange guys talking about let's have drinks, because that's where that shit led to the last time. You and the Vienna Sausage. I done forgot his name. I just call him the Vienna Sausage, okay? So, the last time with them two, it led from them having drinks at the bar. Now here you go over here with Q. And then he got the nerve to ask her to hit her pen whenever the drinks didn't work. Whenever the offer for the drinks didn't work. So she got the nerve to take him up on that offer. Then shortly later, she went on and accepted the drinks after they finished hitting the pen. And I'm like, Danny, what does it take for you to learn your lesson? And then it just seemed like you are a totally different woman whenever you're with Preston versus with these strange guys. It's like you're so easy with them. But like you're quite a challenge when it comes down to Preston, and I don't understand it. But anyway, I just feel like you should keep the same energy with all of them that you do with Preston, you know, and that's just how I feel. But either way, Danny didn't want to talk about it, so he respected her enough to leave it alone for now, but he do want to talk about it later. Because, of course, you know, he has the right to be concerned. Although, she ain't got to talk about it if she don't want to, simply because Preston, he left to go marry Suzanne, Marianne, or whatever her name is. Right? So, did anybody hear him inform Danny on how his life has been and what has happened in between times since he been over there with Suzanne? Ready to say I do? No. So Danny, she don't owe Preston anything. He just came back around. She don't have to say anything to him if she don't want to. Because that's her business. The same way Suzanne and Marianne was his business. You see what I'm saying? So, anyways, now we see Tamara and Hayden, and they're at the law firm talking it up, and she realized that everyone has gone, so it's about time for us to bounce. And she's being real flirtatious, basically doing her job, even though to me she wasn't really doing a good job, but she was doing her job. Okay. And so she was still asking him, was he single? And he said no. And well, really before he could answer, she was like, oh no, not a handsome guy like yourself. You couldn't be single. And whenever he stood up to walk her out the office, she was like, oh, you're hard. I'm so embarrassed. Girl. And then I ain't got the nerve to say, no, I'm just gifted. Okay. Gifted as a nuisance is what you are. And so she was asking him if he wanted to have drinks, y'all. Everybody want to have some drinks on this episode. And she was like, meet me back at my place. And so Hayden was like, bet, let me walk you to your car. And they left out, and I'm just like, I'm trying to see what hell. I'm trying to see what's going on, y'all, with them two. Because, I don't know. But Tamara had to let Fatima know that she had Hayden wrapped around her finger already. And trust me, after she finished with him, he not going to be thinking about Fatima. And she was like, he finna take me out to dinner tonight. So clearly, Tamara and Hayden gonna be locked in pretty shortly. You know, just for business, of course. But who knows? Who knows? Tyler Perry might have a girl catch some feelings for Lil Hayden. Let me stop. So now, where we at? Because y'all, my notes is all over the place. Now, back at Fatima's and Zach. They call Karen, y'all. So, Fatima, she's sitting up under Zach, telling him what to say. And basically just coaching him like a little boy. In my opinion. And she was like, because Zach was like, hey Karen, I want to talk. Because Karen had just got through doing Sabrina hair. And y'all, Pam had the nerve to ask that girl what she been in and why she had to change her hair like that. I'm like, Pam, she is just, she is nosy Rosie. You know, like, she ain't just nosy. She's nosy Rosie. But anyways, back to the subject. After Sabrina left, Zach called. So Zach was like, hey Karen, I want to talk. And Karen was telling Pam to go to the bed. Because Pam was trying to listen or whatever. So she was like, okay, about what? And Zach was like, about the baby. And so he was like, how about me, you, and it seemed like he really didn't want to say it. And Fatima, she was in the background like, me. And he went on and said, he was like, me, you, and Fatima. We want to sit down and talk about the baby. So she was like, okay, where you want to meet? And he said, can you come by the house? So Karen was like, is we going to talk outside or you going to let me in this time? So he was like, nah, you can come in. And she said, and then he asked if she still had an address or whatnot. And she was like, yeah, I still got it. And he go, Fatima, to my... Y'all. And when Zach said, all right, I'm looking forward to it. Y'all, I must have felt like when Fatima did like this. When she gave Zach that eye, like, hold up. I ain't tell you to say that. I only say what I say to say. Okay? Y'all, Fatima be making Zach look so small. Like, he just ain't got no type of voice or no type of control in his relationship at all. It's like literally a mother-son type of bond. And the vibe just ain't vibing. That's just my opinion. So, Zach, he hung up the phone. And Karen, she immediately called Andy. And she was like, did you tell Fatima? And Andy said, no, I didn't tell Fatima anything. Why would I do that? And so she was like, well, why is her and Zach calling me, asking me to come by the house? So Andy was like, I wonder what this could be about. And so she was like, is you going? And Karen said, yeah, I'm going to go. And so Andy said, okay, I'll meet you there. clearly. So Andy hung up the phone and called Fatima. And she had to ask Fatima, well, did you and Zach call Karen? And Fatima said, yeah, because Zach needs to speak with her. And so Andy was like, is you going to be there too? And Fatima was like, of course. And Andy was like, okay, well, I'll be there shortly. And Fatima was like, okay. And she hung up the phone. She was like, Andy's coming too. Zach got so mad. And then Fatima got the nerve to be like, come on, let's clean this stuff up before they get here. Zach threw the feet up there. He said, I ain't cleaning nothing up. Shit, got me back in the sister circle with your ass. Y'all, what got me is, by this point, Fatima talking about some, well then, let's just eat then. Like, damn. First, let's clean up. Let's eat. Stop telling that man what to do. Damn. You done started all this commotion. Now his anxiety just racing around his head. And now you want him to go sit down and eat. Well, here, Fatima, he was trying to do that before you started all of this. Before you got to calling Karen and sitting in the background telling them what to say and sparking up all type of fire. Zach was trying to just have dinner. Now all of a sudden, let's clean this stuff up. Well, then let's just eat. And then when he tell you he don't want to eat because he done lost his appetite with all this bullshit, and he told you he was going to lose his appetite with that bullshit. And you still brought that bullshit. And so, now it's like you forcing the man to eat. You telling him, okay, well, if you don't eat now, then you ain't going to eat nothing later. Girl, leave that man alone. How about you just go eat? Shucks. But I forgot, you too busy worrying about Karen. Karen somewhere minding her business. She was in her salon, back at her happy place. Somewhere trying to get over that whenever y'all rung her phone talking about some come by the house. Which is why I don't understand why I'm seeing stuff like, what do Karen want this time? What she want this time with them? Hell, they called her. What the fuck they want this time? Excuse my language. So, let me quiet down, y'all. I forgot my keys. So in the next room, as I was saying, where I was talking about Karen and Zach. Yeah. So Karen and Andy, they pop up at the same time. And whenever they got there, Karen was like, no, Andy was like, do you need your purse? Karen said, yeah, this might be a setup. Hey, Karen said she stay TTG. Okay? She stay trying to go, okay? So they get to the doorbell, ring the doorbell. Here go Fatima. Go answer the door, go answer the door. You got this. Like, study telling the man what to do. It's like, damn, let him breathe. I don't know if anybody else see it this way. Maybe I'm the only one see it this way. And don't choke me if I am. Please let me live. But I just don't like a guy that, you know, basically, how to put this? It's like he don't really have a voice when it come down to his spouse or his, you know, whoever he's dealing with. And he kind of just let them take control of everything. And he's not as masculine as he should be. I just feel like, to me, that's not my type of man. In my opinion, I wouldn't even want to basically hinder my man's opinion or his voice or just what he gotta say, because I don't know, it just seemed like to me Zach, he don't really get to talk until Fatima say talk. But like I said, maybe it's just me, and if it is, please let me live. But either way, whenever they rang the doorbell, Zach opened the door and they came on in. So Karen, she sat down, then Andy, she scooted Fatima over so she can sit down in the middle of them, just in case somebody want to shake the table, okay? She could be the referee. And Andy, I think it was Andy, I'm not sure. Somebody said, okay, so what y'all want to talk about? Or somebody said, okay, let's talk or something. And then all three of them looked over at Karen. As if she was the one that called them to say, let's talk. What y'all looking at? Like, if I was Karen, I would be thinking in my head, what are y'all looking at me for? I'm trying to figure out what y'all want to talk about myself. Like, I'm here to listen. If anything, so don't look at me to talk. I'm here to listen. I got called over here because Zach clearly said, I want to talk. So why y'all ain't looking at Zach to hear what he got to say? Since he the one want to talk. That's just my question. Now, I don't know, but I will be back with the previews for next week's episode. Because it seemed like to me, although Karen wasn't the one that called and said, I want to talk, she sure had a lot to say. She sure had a whole lot to say. And honestly, I don't blame her for having a whole lot to say, simply because Zach, when he showed up over there at Karen's house, whenever she wanted to talk, whenever the episode about them letters, yeah, Zach had a whole lot to say when it came down to Aaron. When it came down to Aaron, he was ready to shake the table too. But what got me is he had little to nothing to say to Karen. When she was the one that so-called hurt you, Aaron ain't did you nothing. So, if Karen got smoked for Fatima, I mean, I can't do nothing but call it equal. Because Zach, he sure got a whole lot of smoke. Thick smoke. Dark smoke. Over there for Aaron. But we're going to see how it go on next week's episode. And I will be back with the previews to speak on my predictions of what I think might happen on next week's episode. And until then, thank y'all for watching. This is your girl, Toya Telly. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please go ahead and do so. And also hit that notification bell button so you know when I come through with more videos. Until next time, I hope y'all have a good night. Peace.